Good morning, good evening, good morrow. My name is Margen and welcome back to my channel. A lot of you are new here. I know Elise sent a whole army to come support me. So hello Elise Army. It is very nice to see you and I'm very happy you're here. I am so grateful to know Elise and that she decided to share my video. We were on like a video call last night and we were just catching up and she sat down. She's like, okay, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna share this video on my channel and you're gonna get lots of support and views and new subscribers. And I was like, well, even if I get one, that's more than enough. Thank you so much. I love her and you are an extension of her, so I love you too. So today I am going to talk about the 9 sign language 9 books that I read in February. So I read lots of series. I think I read 3 series, then like 2 standalones in February. So I was cranking them out. So we'll talk about the series as a whole and how I enjoyed each book in them. And I definitely read a lot of really good books, and then I also read more questionable books. It might be questionable that I read them, but it's more questionable that the author wrote them. So there you go. Alright, so without further ado, these are the 9 books that I read in February. So series number 1, books 1 and 2 are Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares. Both of these books are by Laini Taylor, and I ate them up. It was such a good start to my reading month. I had to study for a test, so okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I started Strange the Dreamer on the first day of February, and I finished it in like 2 days. And it's like a 500-page book, I think. So I ate it up. It was so good. I rated it 5 stars. The book follows Laszlo Strange. He is a librarian, basically. He is somebody who handles lots of texts and historical documents and organizes them and helps to pull resources for scholars. And so this is just like something that he does. But he is a dreamer. His name is Laszlo Strange. He's a dreamer, hence Strange the Dreamer. And he, when he was very young, had felt this connection to a lost city, basically. And he remembered the name of it, and he was talking about it, playing as if he were like a soldier from that city. And then one day the name just vanished from his mind. It felt like there was a hole in there, and he was like, it's a nameless city. That's interesting. Everybody else, like, nobody took him seriously. He was just an orphan. He didn't know anything about his background or his history, and he was kind of like the bottom of the totem pole in terms of like his social standing. And he gets the opportunity of a lifetime in relation to research with the city, and the whole series is following him, and it's following another person who is like a demigod type of character. She's half human, half god, and so it's from both perspectives, and it is it's just such a good series. Like Laszlo is actually one of the best like written male characters I've ever read. I am obsessed with him. He is just such a wholesome, innocent guy who just wants the best for the people around him, and he's a good person. And I don't know, I like it. I always like the brooding evil like villain as well, but it's just really refreshing to have a character who's just like a ball of sunshine. I like it. And Sarai, that's the demigod character, she was also a really interesting character to read about. I don't know, I liked all the characters. I was texting my friend Kate, and we were talking about the series because she's the one who recommended it to me, And I liked Strange the Dreamer more than Muse of Nightmares. I rated Strange the Dreamer 5 stars, and I rated Muse of Nightmares 4 stars. It kind of suffered from the sequel isn't quite as good as the first book. There are quite a few series that are like that, but that's okay because I still enjoyed my time reading it, and I think about Laszlo Strange all the time. My book Snapchat story, for bookish posts and stuff, is called Thinking About Laszlo Strange. It used to be Thinking About Kaz Brekker because I was and still am obsessed with Six of Crows, but that's okay. That's actually really silly because I am wearing my Ketterdam sweater crewneck thing today, and it's kind of hitting, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know, I like the way I look today. Yay. Confidence. Anyways, I really enjoyed that series. It was a good way to kick off the month. I think I also slowed down when I was reading Muse of Nightmares because I was taking a certification test so that I can teach 6th through 12th grade social sciences in my state. And I passed it, so yay! But it was very tempting to not study and instead continue reading about Laszlo and Sarai. I love them. So, actually, I think I was reading Strange the Dreamer when I took that test, because then I read Muse of Nightmares, and then after I finished Muse of Nightmares, I was like, I'm about to fall into a slump. I need a quick read, and it was Chinese New Year, so that was on February 10th. So on February 10th, I read a book that took place during Chinese New Year, and I had no standards for this book. I was like, I just want to read something that takes place during Chinese New Year and talks about the Asian experience or the Asian American experience. And I celebrated Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year, as best as I could as a white person. I was just, observing it and starting fresh. But I picked up a romance novel. It was a novella. It was 100 pages. It was called A Fake Girlfriend for Chinese New Year, and it was possibly one of the worst things I've ever read. I wasn't looking for anything great, I guess. I was just give me something Chinese New Year related, and it was Chinese New Year related. I rated it 2 stars. I read it in a 2-hour period, so it was another thing to add to my reading list. I liked learning about a lot of the Chinese New Year's traditions, which is kind of what I was looking for anyway, but it was also a romance novel, a kind of a raunchy, spicy one, so not much depth to it, but that is okay because I finished it, and immediately after I finished it, I picked up Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, and I devoured that book. I am not somebody who picks up overhyped or super hyped up books because I don't want other people's opinions to impact my own opinion of a book, but I had been recommended this book by a lot of people in my book club, so I picked it up and I started reading it, and I was like, oh, I don't want to put this down. This is really good. I really like Violet, and I really like Xaden, and I liked it was the perfect length for a fantasy romance. It's obviously not done. That was the first book, and I did read Iron Flame, but I feel some fantasy romances kind of suffer from if they're really short, they rush the romance aspect. That's kind of what I'm experiencing now in one of the books I'm reading, but this book was pretty long, and there was a ton of world building, and so it felt less rushed in terms of the romance. They were also definitely very enemies to lovers. It's super tropey, but I ate it up. I rated both Fourth Wing and Iron Flame 5 stars, and Iron Flame ended on a cliffhanger, and I felt a void. I did. Indeed I did. So there's gonna be 5 books in that series. To be honest, I don't see how that's possible. 5 books is a lot. I feel like I could see one more book and then all of the problems would be resolved, but I imagine that the author is cooking up some plot twists, because that is one thing that I thought Rebecca Yarros did well, was the plot twists. Because I never saw a lot of them. Some of them I saw coming, but a lot of them I didn't. I was like, oh my god, I couldn't have even thought of this. So, good on Rebecca Yarros for surprising me. I am also a very gullible person. So, do with that what you will. There we go. If you enjoyed it, let me know. If you didn't enjoy it, that's okay. I am all about reading books that I enjoy. That's the other thing. Like, when I'm reading these books, I'm like, how much did I enjoy it? That's really the rating for me. I'm like, wow, I like the characters, I like the events, I like all of this stuff. But it's not necessarily, like, if the writing style is, like, really jarring or really, really dense or doesn't make sense, then, like, I'll, like, decrease the rating. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, I know when something is bad, but I'm also just like, did I enjoy it? If I enjoyed it, it's a good read. Because that's why I'm reading. I'm reading to escape reality, and I'm reading to enjoy my time and enjoy my brain. So there you go. So after I finished Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, I picked up Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer. This is a 3-book series. It's a trilogy, and I've read, I don't know why I'm shaking so much. I've read Defy the Night one time before, 2 years ago, when I was living abroad, but I did not remember a single thing from it except that I enjoyed it, and I had been anticipating the next book. Then the next book came out, and I did not read it, and then the 3rd book came out like 4 months ago. I actually have the 4th book in front of me. So it is Defy the Night, Defend the Dawn, and Destroy the Day. This cover is stunning. This is the Barnes & Noble's exclusive edition. This is a signed copy. Just saying. And I really, really enjoyed Defy the Night the second time I read it. I was expecting it, honestly, to not be as good as I remembered it being, but it was a 5-star read for me. I thought that the writing was just really, like, I mean, it was simple. Like, it definitely wasn't, like I wouldn't call it, like, a Tolkien book, or, like, one of those, I don't know, like, it wasn't, like, dense, crazy vocabulary writing or anything like that, but I thought that, like, the court politics aspect of it was explained really well, and the complexity of running a nation or running a kingdom, and, like, the character relationships, I also really, really liked them. I thought they were pretty nuanced. I thought that the side characters, like Quint and, like, Lachlan, were really, really fun to read about. And I thought they added, like, a layer to the story, and they added complexity to our main characters in ways that were really important for their development. So I enjoyed the series. I rated the first book 5 stars, I rated the second book 4 stars, and I rated the third book 4 stars as well. Overall, definitely, like, a 4-star series. I have not read anything else by Bridget Kemmerer, but maybe I will. I think I own A Curse So Dark and Lonely, but I only own the first book, and I tried to read it like 3 or 4 years ago, and it just didn't click with me, so I put it down. But yeah, that's that series. I also struggled to read the last book, partially because I had been traveling, so I flew to Cincinnati, and I was using Libby, so it wasn't downloaded to my phone, so I couldn't listen to the audiobook. And then it was also really, really late when I arrived. Like, it was like a 3-hour flight, 2.5 hours. And I slept the whole time, and then I got to Cincinnati at midnight, and we went out. So I did not have any time to read really all throughout my trip. So then I got back, and I drove home, and I just about finished the book that night. At least I got much further in the book that night, but I digress. I think I finished it on the very last day of February, the 29th, because it's a leap year this year. And yeah, at the same time that I was reading Destroy the Day, my book club, a bunch of people decided to do a buddy read of Butcher and Blackbird. I actually don't know the author of this book. Butcher and Blackbird. I don't remember, but this is a dark romance. I am not a big dark romance girly. I like a good soft, soft book when I'm reading romance. But I generally enjoyed this book more than I anticipated that I would. So Butcher and Blackbird is basically, the premise is there are two serial killers who their victims are criminals, or their victims are serial killers, like other people who are doing harm to society. So they're a little bit more morally understandable, a little less questionable, still questionable, and it's like their love story. So they start a contest or a game where once a year, Rowan was his name. Rowan, his brother, would pick a serial killer or a series of murders from somewhere in the country, and he would send the location to Rowan and what was her name? Shoot. What was her name? Her name, Sloane. There we go. Okay. So it's funny because this is the most recent book I read. Anyways, so he would send the location to Rowan and Sloane, and they would have to, the contest was who could kill the person first. And it's like a competition. They're kind of like rivals. But I think the reason I enjoyed this was because Rowan was really down bad for this girl, and it was much sweeter despite all the murder. It was much sweeter, and the first half of the book was the game and them getting together, and then the second half was kind of just smut. It is an adult romance, so proceed with caution, especially you youngins. But I generally enjoyed it. I rated it 3 stars. I thought it was it was an enjoyable read. It was really easy to get through. I feel like a romance can only be good, especially a romance novel. Well, okay, that's quite a bold statement. I don't deal with absolutes, but in general, romances are better when the straight romances are better when the main character, my gosh, I cannot speak, the male main character, when he is more into the woman, not in a creepy way though, they have to be in love, but the man has to be way more committed and into it than the woman is. But I don't know, I think my expectations for straight men are pretty low, so there we go. My expectations, I don't know, this is a therapy conversation, not a YouTube conversation. Anyways, those are the 9 books that I read in February. Let me know if you've read any of these or if you have any recommendations. I generally enjoyed my reading month. I feel like I'm falling into a slump. I'm currently reading Caraval. Who wrote that book? The same person who wrote Once Upon a Broken Heart, and that series is like in the same universe. They have some of the same characters. Shoot, who wrote that? I am blanking on authors' names. I'm so sorry to the authors. It is by Stephanie Garber. There we go. That's what I'm reading right now. I'm probably gonna read the whole series. And we'll see. I'm traveling a lot, but it's gonna be like chill traveling. Like I'm gonna be relaxing a lot. So I am looking forward to that. That is all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, welcome to those of you who are new, and all my OGs. Hello, thank you for supporting me, and I look forward to seeing you in another video soon. Goodbye.